Hey guys, so another option that some of you may be interested in when it comes to making your tutorial videos is screencasting, which is essentially recording my screen when I'm showing possibly some slides or something like that, or I want to show students a particular website that I need them to work through or something of that nature. Screencasting or recording your computer screen is going to be a great tool for that. So I'm going to actually show you a couple settings to change or possibly look at in Zoom, which hopefully these settings don't change in the next Zoom update that seems to be coming out every single day. But when you have these settings changed in Zoom, Zoom can actually be a very good screencasting tool. And there are some others out there that are totally free. I get it. But there's one aspect about Zoom that I really, really like, and that is it will continue to keep your computer screen, continue to keep your face with your screen as you're sharing it. And one major benefit to that is the fact that if your learners can actually continually see your face as you're explaining something or as you're trying to talk to them, that helps to continue to establish that rapport, that relationship that you have with students. There are lots of studies out there that show I can go out there and find whatever YouTube video I want, which in some cases in a pinch can be very fine. But that person out there on YouTube that created that particular screencasting video does not have a relationship with your learners. So that's why creating your own is really important, as well as making sure that they have your face in it. So I have Zoom open here, and all I have to do is I'm just going to go ahead and go to my settings first underneath the little gear here. And if you haven't had a chance to kind of look through some of these settings, you're more than welcome to kind of just peruse through and see if there were any others that you wanted to kind of tweak around a little bit. But when I go, there are two spots that I definitely want to show you first. So I'm going to go down to recording, and under recording, I have here, I like to choose where my recording is saved to when I'm done. So as you close out Zoom, if you're recording the Zoom, it'll just start converting the video and then it'll automatically save it. Well, some have said, well, where does it save to? This is where your recording saved to. But if you would rather have the choice of where you want that video to be saved to before you upload it to YouTube, you want to make sure this checkbox is checked where you get to choose the location. I also have optimizing the video for third-party video editors, because if you wanted to do some very light editing in iMovie, which I will show you here in another video, you can definitely check that one. So the one option that I definitely want to draw your attention to here is the record video during screen sharing. So when you record your video, you're going to be sharing your screen at the same time. So you want to make sure that the video is recording while you are doing your screen sharing. And not only that, you're going to place video next to the shared screen in the recording. So what it's essentially going to do is it's going to put your face up in the upper right-hand corner while your screen is being shared, so you have both at the same time. So check marking both of these is going to be very helpful. Other settings that you may want to take a look at, I'm going to look at screen share real quick just to make sure these settings are what I need them to be. So I want to make sure that I'm going to be entering in full screen when I'm screen sharing here. Zoom window, participant screen sharing, scale to fit, yep. Side-by-side mode as necessary, sure, yep, I want that checked. And show Zoom windows during screen sharing. So this, I'm going to check this one on because I think that it's going to be important for me for this particular video that I'm creating for you, but you may not want this one checked necessarily, because what this means is when it says show Zoom windows during screen share, so when you move your cursor around on the Zoom screen, you know how those controls pop up at the bottom? So normally it'll hide those, like I'll be able to see it, but you on the recording would not be able to see that. But I do want you guys to be able to see that for this sake. So I'm going to leave that checked, but you guys may want to have that unchecked. That's your call. And then I think those are the settings I just need here to show you what I need. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a new meeting. And when I do, I'm going to join computer audio. And as you can see, it's just me. So right now, for the sake of this recording, I can't use Zoom to do a Zoom recording of the Zoom recording. You know what I mean? So right now, what I'm using is I'm using QuickTime, which is also built onto your computer, but I'm using that so I can show you what the screen looks like when you are using Zoom. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my slides. So right here, I'm really doing some DIY hacking here for a second. But let's say I have a slideshow set up in Google Slides. It's something that I've had for a while. I'm just using the FAIP stuff here that we've seen before. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's say, start my recording. So what I would do is I would hit record. I'm not going to do that now just because that's going to mess up my recording. But that is what I would hit to start my recording. And when I do my screen share, and when I hit my screen share, if I have sound on my computer, some of these people they forget about these little options here. If there's something that has sound on my computer that I want my students to be able to hear, I want them to be able to hear the video that I'm playing, or the some other kind of sound or audio coming from the computer. I can share that as well. Optimize screen share for video clip, so I can go ahead and do that. And then what I can do is I can have different options here. So let's say, and some people didn't even realize this either, but I can use Zoom to do the exact same thing if I wanted to actually share my phone or my iPad. All I would have to do is plug that in, or that's via AirPlay, but I could just plug it in with a lightning cable to my computer, and now I can record my mobile device too. So that's why Zoom is really nice. And then over here, what I can do is I can share my entire desktop, or I can go ahead and just share the Google Chrome window, which is what I'm going to do for the presentation's sake. Now I have closed down QuickTime and I've jumped over to Zoom because in my attempt to try to record a recording, it cut me out. So obviously the two can't work at the same time. So now I've jumped over to Zoom. I'm inside Zoom, and as you can see, I have myself unmuted and everything, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen for you guys so you can see what's going on. So as I've shown before, I shared my screen. I'm going to go ahead and select Google Chrome. And when I do, you can see my screen here, okay? And with my screen, I'm going to go ahead and go into presentation mode. And hopefully it doesn't crash on me. Good. All right. So now we're in presentation mode. I'm talking you guys through my presentation. You can see me at the same time. So that way, if I need to talk to my audience at the same time while I'm talking about what's on the slide, they can see both at the same time. And here's something that's really going to blow your mind, because one thing when it comes to like ADA compliance and everything, now I don't know, trying to think, in the past we have, but I don't know if we have any students currently that have some kind of hearing impairment of any kind. But what you can do is if I hover over top of my presentation and I get my little toolbar to pop up at the bottom, one of those options, I have a few options in Google Slides actually that may help some of your presentations, but I have my controls. I can jump to a slide. I have my Q&A if I'm doing something live, but I'm not doing that right now. I could show my notes if I wanted to. I actually have a pointer, which I'm not sure if a lot of people knew that they had a built-in pointer into their Google Slides presentation if they wanted to utilize that. I'm just going to turn that off. And I also have this closed captioning. Now, next to closed captioning, I have some preferences where I can choose the text position at the top or the bottom, and I'm just going to choose the bottom for now. And I also have some options for the text size, and I'm just going to leave it as is, the default ones, but I'm going to go ahead and turn that on so you guys can see what's going on. So as I have closed caption turned on, you will notice that as I'm speaking and presenting to you guys, it is also typing that at the very bottom in real time. And it is pretty accurate, I have to say. I've tested this many times. I've actually used it for screencasting purposes, so that way it's essentially putting in my subtitles for me, and I don't even have to worry about that, although YouTube can also put in some closed captions for me, but that's more in like the intermediate level background options that's built into YouTube. Whereas this is just simply turn it on as I have my Google Slides thrown in there. And some of you, they may use PowerPoint. You could easily upload that to Google Slides and it'll convert it to Google Slides. I use Keynote, so therefore I would not be able to utilize the built-in closed captioning into Google Slides unless I exported it as a PowerPoint and imported it into Google Slides. But for the most part, I could simply just continue to click through my slides, talk to my students, It provides the text at the bottom, and we can just continue on with the presentation and keep it as short and sweet as I can and just get them the main information possible. So not only do I have my slides that I'm recording or my screen that I'm recording, if Google Slides is one way that you want to present information to your students, I'm also getting my face with the image, I'm getting closed captioning with it, and it's all recording one together. So now once I have that all done, I can upload that to YouTube into my playlists, and then I can organize all of that for the students, so it's kind of a one-stop shop. Or I could simply upload it to YouTube, make sure it's unlisted, and then share that link inside your planning template. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts, but just to review, you want to make sure that you check first your Zoom settings to make sure that those correct check boxes are checked, so that way it can kind of create that picture-in-picture effect. You also then, I would probably then open up your presentation if you have a specific presentation that you want to present to them. Even if it's not Google Slides, like even if the closed captioning stuff isn't that important to you, if it's just a presentation or your computer screen or whatever, just have that ready to go so it's in the background before you do your screen share. Then you want to start meeting, and that's the big orange button right there in Zoom. So start the meeting. And then once you start the meeting, just go ahead and record. And then once you record, you can go ahead and share your screen and then do everything you need to do. Stop your sharing, close out the meeting or leave the meeting or end the meeting, and then the video will just go ahead and convert and save to wherever it is that you need it to be saved to. And it's just one video file then, all together. So before I forget, there was one last thing that I wanted to show you that is probably going to be very important as you go to record. And I would do this before you even start recording, actually. So if you're the type of person that gets notifications coming in from the upper right-hand corner on your screen, and I'm not sure if it's this corner or this corner when I'm doing record this because it's sometimes flip, but if you're the type of person that gets notifications coming in, you want to make sure you turn those off. But I don't know if everybody knows how to do that. So I'm going to show you very quickly. So I'm going to share my screen once again so you guys can see, and I'm going to actually do the whole desktop here. So to turn your notifications off, just very briefly, it's going to always turn them back on, usually when your computer wakes back up and everything. But for the short time, I need to turn my notifications off. So on my trackpad, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use two fingers and I'm going to put them off of the trackpad on the right-hand side. Like there's the trackpad and it's over on the right-hand side, off of the trackpad. What I'm going to do is I'm going to slide my fingers onto the trackpad. And as I do, you're going to see all your notifications that have been popping up over the last few days or so. But right here is where you want to be able to turn that off. So right here, I have Do Not Disturb turned on, which means all my notifications are going to be coming in, but I need to turn those off. So now when I go to record, those notifications will not be popping up as my recorder, or as I'm recording, which, you know, who knows what kind of notifications are going to be popping in. So now that's all taken care of. You can go ahead and start recording.